Welcome back to the Taboo table. I am Jess.
I'm Lowlah B.
And we've got a lovely guest with us who is...
Jennifer.
So Jennifer, where do I know you from?
How did we actually meet? Do you know, I think the first time we met was through
Fashion.
Coco. Yeah, Coach Fashion.
Fashion.
From Coco. Yeah.
So this is my dear friend Jennifer
Yeah.
from back in the day.
Past the decade.
And we've got a very, 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 very important topic today on the table. But before we jump into it, we're going to play a little game so that we can ease right into it. So Jennifer, do you want to do the question or should I?
I actually forgot what the question was. So yeah,
I'm gonna do the question. You take your time. So, if you had a magical bag in front of you right now,
Yeah.
and you could dip into that bag and pull out anything you wanted, lost, anything that you've ever lost in your life, or anything that you wanted, what would it be? What would you pick out, and why? It could be anything.
Just one.
Just one. Huh? Greedy? Do you need a minute?
No, because you have to think.
Lowlah,
careful about these
what would you
things,
take?
know?
What would you take out the bag?
You have to think careful about these things.
I'll definitely say time.
Okay,
Give myself some more time.
that's good. That's a good one.
And
What else do you need other than time? Oh yeah.
ask my virginity back. No, I'm joking. It's just time. Let's just stick to time. Yeah.
That's a good girl. Came back with that. That sex.
Oh.
I would if I could get anything back, I would ask my grandmother back.
Oh.
Yeah, I miss her. Yeah, I miss her. I'd want my grandmother back if I could have anything back.
Guys, I still don't know. I'm just...
Yeah, have you ever lost anything in your life?
Have I lost anything? I think I want back.
Oh wow. Okay.
What time? Would you want time?
No, time's a good one. Time's a good one.
We're not old enough
But
to say
I think-
age, right?
Yeah, you can't say age.
No, I think we're too young for
Oh,
that.
okay. No, but it's experience, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
It is.
you know, I was about to say like my teens, but then
Okay.
it's just like it's experience I went through which made us better or made me better anyway. So I wouldn't really want
You wouldn't be
to
the same person
yeah.
about it. That's fine. Okay, that's fair enough. We can just get right into it then. Yeah. So today, Lowlah, what have we got on the table?
So today we think it's important to talk about finding love in the motherland and people's opinions about it. We see it being done a lot, but hardly ever spoken about.
I thought Jennifer would be the perfect person. I've known Jennifer, like I said, for several years. And she got up one day and she was like, I'm going to get married, you know. I'm getting married. And I was like, excuse me? She was like, she was saying it like, yeah, you just sit there and wait. And I was just like, no, but is this how you tell somebody that you're about to get married?
How long ago was this?
Well, it's a while now.
It's a while now, yeah.
How it came out.
Yeah.
It was the way she said it, and I was just like, but girl, I don't know who you've been, I don't know that much at all about what you've been getting up to.
Yeah.
I'd heard a bit about her now husband, but
Yeah.
I didn't really know it was that serious yet.
Oh yeah.
So when she told me, I was like, to who? And then she was like,
To Michael, who's my now husband.
Oh.
so how did you guys meet?
So we actually met through one of my good friends. So my good friend is my now husband's cousin.
Oh, right, okay. Oh, okay.
Yes, so they're related.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's important to say that her now husband was obviously in Ghana
Yeah.
at the time. So you met in
yeah.
Ghana while she were on
Yeah.
holiday?
So there was about a couple of years ago, let's say about 3-4 years.
Yeah.
I took it on to go to Ghana at least like once a year.
Yeah.
I'm very business orientated, so I wanted to
Yeah.
really do something back home.
Yeah.
So I found it important to go back, get used to the country,
Yeah.
the people, and all of that.
Yeah.
So every Christmas I would go back.
Go back.
Yeah. And that's how we met.
And you would spend quite some time there though, wouldn't you?
So at that time, in terms of work-wise, I was doing agency, so I
Okay.
could just kind of pick up myself and say, do you know what, I'm going to go for about 2-3 months. So that's how much.
Yeah.
What, back in Ghana?
No, so I wouldn't work, but I
Okay.
mean work here. I was in
Okay,
I
yeah,
was in agency, so that means
Gave you the
I could just
flexibility.
the flexibility was there.
Mm.
So I would go to about 2-3 months. Kind of just exploring, getting to meet people and that stuff.
So fast forward, you meet Michael, and then the honeymoon was done. You meet someone you like on holiday, like
Yeah.
we've all been there.
Yeah.
But then you come back, and the reality is, do you still talk to this person? Are you gonna?
So I'm gonna backtrack, right?
Okay.
Because when we met by, I think we said we were gonna go out one night.
Yeah.
My friend, his cousin, was with the brother. Sorry, he's here by the way.
Yeah. Maybe.
with her brother. So we decided to meet up when we went.
Yeah.
And he just happened to be the one that was kind of taking them around because I was their first time back in a very long time.
Right.
So we decided to meet up and go out in the night.
Yeah.
So initially, right, when I saw him, I didn't even take any notice of him.
As you do. This is always the story when people meet their husbands. It's like I won't even look in his way. Like,
I honestly wasn't. He's here. He could attest for that. Because my friend was like, oh, this is my cousin Michael. And I was like, oh, okay, hi guys, what are we doing? Like, literally that was it. And he was quite a quiet person as well. So all he just said back was like, hi. And literally, I didn't look at him for the whole night again. So it's basically hi, first time we met, and bye when he dropped me off home.
Oh, wow. Wow.
That was literally
no conversations.
No conversations at all. Okay. Yeah, because I think he was just more quiet. And I just kind of just saw him as
he's quite
their cousin that's just taking them round. Like, my mind wasn't really there. I just wanted to have fun for the night. So that was it. So sorry, I have to bore you the story because it's actually not as straightforward as people think it was in my situation. Yeah. So he contacts me through Facebook. Okay. He messages me through Facebook.
Okay. We like initiative. Go on.
So I think initially he had asked about me through my friend, but he didn't really get like any energy back. Right.
Just a hi, bye.
Just a hi and bye. He's like, oh,
he was being stush, honey. He was like, London babe.
So he speaks to his cousin. He's like, oh, who's Jennifer? Who's your friend? And they're just kind of like, nah, like, don't even think about it. Don't go there. Yeah. So now he's like, yeah, okay, all right. Let's see. Let's see. So he goes to Facebook and then finds my name through his cousin.
That told him no, don't go there.
We like a persistent man.
Yes, he was very persistent. He's like, no, okay, if you ain't gonna do it for me, I'm gonna do it for myself.
Yeah,
exactly. So he messaged me through Facebook, and I saw him. Right, imagine he requested a friend requested me. I think whilst we were in Ghana.
Yeah.
I saw the name. I said, why are you adding me? I'm literally like, why is he adding me? But I'm trying to be a good friend. I'm a very friendly person. So I'm just like, okay, but he's seen me, So I didn't even accept the request when I was in Ghana.
Right.
It's only when I came back.
Right.
And then
how long did you spend in Ghana?
So at that time, I think I spent 2 months. I came back.
Did you get any alone time with him at that time?
Not at that time.
Okay.
No. Okay. Not at that time. Okay. So I came back, was going through my Facebook. I said, oh yeah, I don't really go through my friends' requests. So that time I was like, okay, let me just go through. And I see Mike, I was like, oh yeah, I forgot. Let me just accept him. Yeah. So as soon as I accepted, it didn't even take time. Hi, my name's Michael. Do you remember me? And I was just like, yeah. So fast forward, we talked. And that time I was actually speaking to someone else.
All right.
Who was also in Ghana.
Okay.
My girl likes dating back home. Loving Ghana.
Listen.
This should be a little sequel.
Yeah, so he's talking, saying, do you know what? I find you attractive, and you know what guys say.
Bars, Michael, bars.
You know what guys say. And I was like, okay, still not giving my mind. I'm just talking to you because you're my friend's cousin, or like that's what it is in my head, right? But he's talking and he's very consistent. It's not like coming back 2 days. Like, he's really on it.
Okay, good.
And then we exchanged numbers on there. I was like, okay, fine. Like, he didn't say anything.
What made you take it from being like a Facebook, friend request to giving out your number? Because
so like I said, I'm a very friendly person, right? Okay. We've talked a bit, so I thought, okay, this guy was cool. Because remember, I hardly spoke to him that night.
Right. Plus, you already met face to face.
And we've met face to face. I've seen how he looks like.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
But we just haven't had that conversation, that talk. So when we were talking on Facebook, then I realized, okay, this guy's actually
he's a cool guy.
Yeah, he's cool. I mean, I don't know why he didn't talk on the night, but he's quite cool. And again, like I said, he's my friend's cousin, so
it was
kind of like So so we took it from there, and then we started talking.
And so you built the majority of that relationship over phone.
Over the phone, yes.
That's so crazy.
Literally over the phone. FaceTime, WhatsApp video.
You put in the work when you do long distance. Have you ever done long distance before?
Yes, girl. And do you know, sometimes I feel like a lot of my relationships
a long distance. Are you serious? No, but how do people do that? Because for me,
it's not for the fatal-hearted though.
I want to be in your skin. I need to be under your armpit. I need to be on your lap. I can't do the phone call thing. Like, I need to hear your breath in my
space. I feel like sometimes I like my space.
I get it.
So long as we're seeing each other often, then I'm okay. And so long as you have to be consistent. Just because you're away doesn't mean you can't be consistent with my messaging, my calls.
What about when I need a hug?
No, hug
no. See, you're both stuck. You're both stuck.
My mum is there. I'll hug her. Let her comfort me.
But so then, how long did it take until you were able to kind of go back and see him?
So this actually. So we spoke. And then he made his intentions known.
Oh, wow. When you say intentions, be very, very clear.
Intentions as in, like, I really do like you, and I'd like you to be my girl. Let me just make this clear. I'm someone who is very particular.
Yeah.
In terms of, I feel like within, I won't even give you 2 months, within a month, right, that you feel like, okay, I know this person is interested in me, let me see where their head's at. It shouldn't really take you that long to say, okay, this is what I like, this is what I plan to do.
What are we?
What are we?
Yeah.
But it's more like, I'm getting to know you, right? So what is your future plans? Are we seeing eye to eye? Are we the same people?
Right.
So I find out all those things within like a good, let's say, month or two, right? And then obviously we start continuing talking. So I think May.
No, so how long had it been since then coming back?
Yeah,
to then going back?
so I came back in January, so May.
Okay.
May is when we were like, okay, so let's move this forward. Bearing in mind, he might have said that, okay, I want you to be my girlfriend, but we had talked about marriage, we've spoken about a lot of things within that time. Because I'm not going to speak about marriage, you know, like 12 years down the line. Like,
no,
I need to know your intention.
You're letting him know from the get.
Exactly. This is how I am. You know, if you want to have a relationship, you know, is it intentional? Where do you want to see? Where do you see us in 5 years? You know, those kind of questions. I was very particular with those questions. So by May, I had kind of got an idea of like, okay, maybe I can see myself with him. I can see myself with Michael. So that was it really. So that's where we took off.
Okay. Oh, good. Girl. You built a whole relationship
without
even having contact. I can't grasp that. Like, I'm trying to think how I would be in it. I can't.
And bear in mind as well that we didn't actually really speak.
That's what I mean.
So we've spoken.
To be honest, it's not all that. It's not all that different because I guess people go on these like chat rooms and they build relationships. They build whatever. Yeah. Now, what I'm trying to get to is that where because this is. You're married now, and at the time it's like you guys were just talking on the phone. Where do you guys now start feeling like, we're gonna get married, let's do this? Because you go back in May.
Yeah, no. So we make it known or make our intentions known to each other, but I go back in December.
Okay.
Wait.
So we're official for May.
So we're official for May.
Okay.
So January to December. That's 12 months. You hadn't seen each other.
No.
And you knew that you wanted to be together.
Yeah.
So you lot are nodding like, this is I've never heard.
I think the important thing for me was that I had already seen him.
Right. Yeah.
I don't think I would have pursued anything or pushed things forward.
Right. If you hadn't seen him.
If it's like a chat room or whatever, and the whole year I've spoken to you, there's no way that I'm going to be like, okay,
because he can be
let's move
catfishing
this.
you the whole time.
Listen.
Yeah. So I had actually seen him. So okay, he's
alright. Please.
So that the look wise, or you know, they say that you know you go by how the person looks before, right?
He was already sold.
I had solved that already.
Right.
It was just more about getting to know him. Yeah.
And do you feel like that period, like okay, traditional dating, you know, even though you are seeing each other, I feel like sometimes you're more connected when, not with long distance, because you're forced to only talk. All you can do
that's it.
is speak, and more speak. So
that's it. So you have to literally ask the questions and get to know each other. Whereas I think what you're saying is that
level,
it's much deeper because you guys didn't have the distraction of the physical.
Yes.
So therefore, it was all about. It was
it's all about the mind, more about personality.
And it's not easy for men to sell themselves when they ain't throwing their money at you, or when they're not trying to, lavish you and, try and sleep with you. They've got most men you'll find that have nothing else to offer.
But that,
but the physical.
100%.
So it's so important, and I think it's amazing that he was able to kind of gauge your interest and keep it for a span of
and I'm
12 months.
We spoke every single day.
That's amazing.
Morning, afternoon.
Listen, there was times she was at my house. I should be in the couch and I'd be like, to be there doing their long distance. I'm like, hello, Jennifer. It was commitment. It was serious commitment. I was just like, no, but what guy has gauged her like this? Like, how?
And I think at that point, I'd for me to accept that, okay, because I told myself, if I'm going to get into a relationship, it has to lead to marriage. So I think at that moment, I just, they say you have that feeling, right? And the things that he was saying, I mean, you shouldn't really go by what people were saying, but I'm a creative, so I'm very into detailing. So I was, his actions, the things that he was saying, and it wouldn't be the things that you would constantly or normally hear.
Okay. He brought his A game.
He brought his A game. A real A game, not the fake one.
Not the fake. Not the one that this one A+ degree, masters. Okay.
And it's true what you said, because I mean I've been in a long distance situation before, and even sometimes then my issue was, how can we be long distance and we're not speaking every day?
No, that's crazy.
Or checking in throughout the day.
We're talking every day, right?
If you
every day.
If we're in a relationship and you don't call me every day, I just assume that you've died. That's it. If you call me Tuesday and you miss Wednesday, I'm going to assume that you have died.
And you're abroad.
And honestly,
not calling me in 2-3 days. I've moved on to someone else.
Yeah. I'm done. Honestly, it might sound like I'm exaggerating, but we did not miss a day talking. I wake up with him. I went to bed with him. I'm at work. I'm with him. Literally. So for me, because we were talking so constantly and it was so consistent, I felt like I was with him.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
You were already together.
Everything was just him. Everything was just him. So it was just like we were together.
So
not physically, but it felt like it.
It felt like it. So December you went back.
Yeah.
So tell us now how it got to wedding. Like tell us.
So fast forward. So December we met, like physically, right? We were going out, so we were spending time more, and then this is where we actually felt like,
I almost feel like this is how all relationships should be. Let's not even see each other. Let's be talking.
Let me know who you
are.
Because imagine a whole year
for me. Okay?
Nothing physically. No, buy me this, buy me that. Bear in mind, he was even sending me things from Ghana without even me asking.
Yes, in-law.
So that's what you do.
That's what you need.
Okay.
If you want
because
me,
you can't just chop love. You can't just be chopping love. We need to chop the tangible. Yes, I like that. Yes.
So it was just literally based on talking. And imagine talking. People were saying, okay, well, you're not doing anything. Yeah. So what are you talking about for a whole 12 months? Like without seeing each other.
There's plenty to talk about.
There's plenty to talk about if you want to talk about.
If you want to get to know somebody,
if you really want to get to know. And so when we met in December, it literally was just like, wow, we're spending more time with each other. It even got better. Yeah. You know?
Okay, good.
Yeah.
So I think from then we would start to talk, okay, marriage, let's move it on again.
Wow.
Okay. Right? So fast forward traditionally, so if you're Ghanaian, obviously there's something called knocking or kokoko, which you had to do. So my parents went to Ghana the year after.
Is that the traditional wedding?
That's not, no. So
this is like an introduction, like this is my introduction for your daughter.
Yeah, so bear in mind that within this year as well, further down the line when I was going to Ghana, I'd already mentioned it to my mum, I think. Okay. And my dad heard.
What was your parents' reaction when it was like, this guy from Ghana wants... Honestly,
my parents are like the best people. They're not fussy. They don't sit me down and say, okay, so what job does he do? They weren't like that. Yeah. So my mum was just very like, oh, okay. okay, you know, just be careful, see how he is, the motherly advice that she would give.
Sure.
And once in a while as well, when Michael was on the phone, I'd be like, oh, like, say hi to my mum. Or she'd be like, oh, who are you speaking to? I'd be like, Michael. Like, hey, Michael.
Right.
How are you? So it's like they instantly
invited
just
him
like,
in. Right.
without no hesitation. But bear in mind, you know, the conversation of, is this real?
Because they answer those questions.
Yeah, of course, because the person's in Ghana. So it was just like, is this real? Where did you meet him? It wasn't like forced. You know, some parents will sit you down, Ghana. Okay, so what do you do? You know, like, but they were very calm about it. It's like, okay, right, so he does this, he does that. What family is he from? You know, the basic questions that they ask you. And then they're like, okay, see how it goes. So from then on. Do
you feel like they did their own research? Because I know sometimes back home when they ask, oh, where's
they'll be checking the surname.
They check themselves.
So at this point, it's just kind of like introducing on the phone.
To each other. Okay, cool.
Right? Because I feel it's very important to do it earlier on, so they get you, especially if you're back home.
Yeah.
Just to get that relationship going before you meet face to face. Because I feel like it's just better.
Yeah.
Rather than making face to face and then I don't know you. Because when they met, they kind of just bonded because they'd already been speaking.
Right.
So at the Coco, so my parents were going to Ghana, and then I personally wanted my parents, because there was times where people can stand in for that Coco, which is the introduction.
Okay.
But I didn't want that, so my parents went Ghana and said, okay, this is the perfect time, because I'm going to go back again whenever, you know, just kind of get up and go. So if they're going to go now, let the families see each other. So that's what happened. And once you do that, that means you're going into marriage. Once you do the whole Coco introduction.
So how long after then? So that's like 1.5 years now that you guys have been talking.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm there one day, and then she's like, she says it again, I'm getting married. And I was just like, I didn't hear anything between the last time she was doing, I'm getting married, you know. Okay, you wait in my house to, I'm getting married now. And then it just became this quick, when she started talking about fabric, then I was like, this is real. This is real. I was just like, hold on. I literally didn't grasp the reality until the last minute when she had planned everything. And she came to my house, and like in the background, I could hear she was organizing things with her friends. And to me, I was still like, because I didn't know this guy. You have to understand. And Jennifer's like my closest, right? So. And she's also my little sister. So to me, when she said a guy in Ghana, and she said, you know, because I hadn't heard anything about him, I was like, hold on, I need to actually. And I sent her a text, and I said, Jennifer,
let me meet him.
I said, Jennifer, let me know that this is real. Let me make sure that this is real, and blah blah blah. And she said to me, I appreciate you. I know you're my big sister. You're trying to advise me. This is 100% real. I booked my plane ticket to make sure that I was going to be there at her wedding.
Yeah.
And you know why? I knew that she had told me that she's going to have a traditional wedding. She had told me that she was going to do a white wedding. But for me, because of what I knew growing up and the kind of families that we've kind of grown up in, I know, you know, migrants, and my parents have helped so many people like cross over and, you know, and gain residency here. Sure. I wanted to be sure, but also when a part of me was like, oh my God, I know how some of these things go.
Yeah.
And if, God forbid, her husband can't come here, I don't want to miss one of my closest friends' weddings. So I was, you know, like I could have said, oh, I'm not going to the traditional, I'm going to wait for the white wedding because she's going to do it here. But my fear was, if this Home Office decide to have a bad day, I don't want to miss one of my closest friends' weddings. So I booked that plane ticket in mind, thinking, I don't know what's going to happen. Let me just go and be there for her. And I think that's a lot of the stereotype that we get with when people meet, you know, and find love abroad is
I mean, it is a stereotype, because you can imagine, like you said, you've known your parents has known people that, you know, they had to bring people over. So I hear a lot of negativity surrounding long distance relationship, and rightfully so, because a lot of people
there's been a lot
just for
and let me just mention that it wasn't Jessica that pulled me up on it, right? So no one really knew that I was talking to anyone, but once you do this whole knocking and stuff, it's official. That's kind of like official. So that's when I kind of like was telling the people that I felt like I needed to tell at that moment. And when you tell them,
the first question. I
mean, the younger ones are like, oh, okay, are you sure? But it's more like the elderly ones are like, hey, Ghana. Ghana.
Are you sure someone put a picture?
Sure? Are you sure? Are you sure? Is this real? Is he good? What does he do? Who's his mother? And all of these things, they ask you straight on without even giving you like space to even speak, right? And this was literally everyone I spoke to. Literally everyone I spoke to the point where I even had an argument with one of my closest, I would say, uncles over it.
Right.
Because I think I'd been asked so much, and he's someone that also grew up from Ghana, so he knows the boys in Ghana. He knows how they are. So he was very like on it, like, so you were here and you couldn't find no one, you know, and you had to go back to Ghana. You don't know how these boys are.
I think the glaring thing in the room is the stigma.
It's the stigma about it, you know,
somebody,
people coming over, like, you know, for passports.
They must want papers from you, and you know, it's because they're trying to do better in life. And so I think the panic also comes when it happens so fast.
Yeah.
And you know, you've just explained the timeline to me for the first time, but I didn't know it was over a year and a half. I literally thought what it felt like was a couple of months from when I actually knew that Michael was Michael, and then when the marriage came, I was like,
yeah.
You know, is this going to be somebody that's going to take advantage of my sister type thing? So I think that's the negative stigma that we always have.
And had Michael ever been to the UK prior meeting you?
No, so he hasn't actually travelled to the UK. He has gone to Russia before. He was going to take a course in Russia, but he just decided that he didn't want to.
Was there ever a part of you that thought this could be?
Yeah, definitely. I'm not even going to lie. And do you know what? One thing I did as well, I spoke to him about it. I was very front about it, you know. I was just like, a lot of people are asking that, you know, is this real? Because I was a bit upset at the beginning. I think later on, it was just like, okay, I've heard this before.
You was upset because?
But I was upset because it was just like,
people were questioning
it, and I totally understood. But they were questioning it, and then it makes you question yourself slightly. It's not like I was not confident in my relationship, but you know, we're not God. We don't know what's going to happen.
Absolutely.
So now they're questioning. They're asking all these questions, and even some questions you've never even thought about. Right. So you're not like in front of them. You're like, yeah, auntie's fine. Oh, auntie, yeah, I know him. Auntie, this. And then you come back home and you're like,
do I know?
Do I actually know what I'm getting into?
Yeah. And you know what? Don't get me wrong. I knew what I was getting myself into. Like again, we've seen it again and again, right? So I kind of had the idea of what needs to happen and what's going to happen, but. If I tell you, I never ever planned to meet anyone overseas, right? And I had always say, I'm never gonna bring anyone over here. That was me, because I've seen my parents go through it. I've seen aunties, everything, whole. I was like, this is not me.
You've heard some crazy stories,
right? So I even see that my cousins. I'm like, child,
listen, girl. There's people who've brought people here. They've left them to go and find their own bay.
Exactly.
Like there's people that have been brought over that have a whole family back home, but they've married under false pretenses just because they want a better. And that's what the issue is.
Look at 90 Day Fiance, all of those, and that's what I'm saying. I'm glad you said he had been to Russia, because I thought honestly sometimes there's a difference between being back home and being stuck back home. And I thought when you're stuck back home, that's where sometimes that desperation comes in to find someone abroad,
and then they leech on you.
And honestly, I think that's what calmed me as well, because he has family here. So it's kind of like, if it wasn't gonna be me that brought him here and he was gonna get here, someone can. You know. So that also kind of calmed me down. To think that you know, he's had opportunities. I don't want to really put it out there, but he's had opportunities brought to him
if he wanted to.
Right. And he was just like, no, like the way it was being done, it's not something that he wanted to do. But yeah, definitely when people were speaking about it, you know, my heart would just be beating, like, especially the beginning stages when I was telling people, because I didn't know my people's reactions, and even people's reactions was even worse than my parents. The aunties are proper in it.
I think your parents obviously haven't been through that as well. They understand. Like my parents, one of them brought the other here. Do you understand? So they've been through all of that, and they know that it's complicated as hell and it's stressful as hell, and there's all financial, you know, complications with all of this. But aside from your immediate family, when it starts getting outside, people have no idea about your heart, your intentions, your journey, your path. No.
The first thing that you say, and they'll talk like, where is he? What school does he go to? Like, he's here. And then I'll just be like, he's not here. He's in Ghana.
He's in Ghana.
And
then it changes everything.
And then the tone changes.
Now they're like, has he got papers?
It's like, okay. Oh, you're sure? Are you sure? Is he a good person? What is his intentions? And then they get deep, like, what does he want to do? And it's like, that's not none of your
business. Yeah.
All you have to say is,
congratulations.
Give me the advice, because I before, when I met him and I was feeling like, okay, this is actually going to happen, I had actually already got myself ready.
Right.
Okay.
It's just that when it happens, it gets a bit frustrated.
Yeah.
So I knew it was going to come.
Oh, you knew the questions was going to come.
Oh, I knew.
Okay.
I knew.
Yeah.
Because, it's like conversations that you kind of randomly have before it happens.
Yeah.
And you know people's reaction already. But now I'm actually in this. So I kind of knew. But it's just the fact that people are asking
What would you say to people, though, that were like kept questioning his motives or his intentions? Like if anybody ever asked you has anybody ever asked you directly, like, oh yeah, sure, are you sure it's not for?
Oh yeah, of course, that's what I'm saying. That's what they were asking me, but I'll be like, it's not. You know the person you're speaking to, you know what you're spoken about, you know what you're going to do. Me and him know.
Right, between the two of you.
Between the two of us. And I'm also not someone who will kind of just be blindsided about things. I especially something like this.
Girl, we hope we not.
Ask you, do you think it's in like an individual thing? So like if someone was to ask you, or if someone to ask you for your advice, if they were dating someone back home, because there's a lot of, sham marriages, what would you say? How would you tell someone what signs would you tell them to look out for?
The thing is, I was never in that situation.
You haven't been in the sham?
But, and there's stories that is like people have married people over here and they've even got families. They've married back home. Have families.
I know one.
And they've still married here, right? And been able to come here. Your mum has pretended with you. Your auntie has pretended with you. Everyone's pretended like, you're legit, right? So one thing I definitely did was pray. You've got to pray. You've got to pray. God, show me these signs. If it's not, let this happen.
Let this happen,
Like, and I didn't really see any red flags with him. And his mum was so lovely. It's him and his brother. So like, she just took me on like her daughter. So I also look at that as well. How
the family
reacts to me. Obviously, my good friend is his cousin here, but how people back home gonna take it. His mum was amazing. Like, she's so, oh, my daughter. And it got to the point where me and his mum, we had already exchanged numbers, so we were also having deep conversations.
You had a relationship with mum.
And like, I think sometimes when people would ask me, are you sure, I get frustrated, I tell him, and he will probably mention it to his mum. And then his mum would just randomly, just off WhatsApp, I'm trying to say English, but when you say something in your language, it's more powerful. Powerful. But she'll just be like, oh, don't worry, and she's very godly as well. She's like, don't worry, it's not like that. She takes me back and all of these things, Michael's not like that. And I was actually the first girl that he properly introduced. Actually, you hadn't introduced it, babe. You hadn't introduced anyone. So I was the one that, he took forward to his mum. So that meant a lot as well.
So I want to talk about now you guys have done your traditional wedding back home. So what happens after happily ever after? When you get back here, you're married now. The wedding was beautiful.
The process.
The process was, we've come back. We've come back from Ghana, back to the cold, and we're chilling. Now you are a wife, but you are a wife without your husband.
My husband.
Right. So what do we do now? Like,
so initially, prior to that, obviously we had conversations about, am I going to Ghana or is he coming here?
Did you ever think that, God forbid, this Home Office thing doesn't work out, I would move to Ghana?
So I know the Home Office process is a very difficult one, it's a very long one, but by force, by fire, he would have come at some point.
So in your head, you never ever had?
No, I think it was more about maybe I would have to go more often than I was before. But moving back home, it wasn't in my head, only because of the conversations that we had. Because me going back home is not easy, right? And me going back home, if I was to do anything, it would have to probably be in the creative industry or starting off something, which is not easy. So in certain situations like this, you see what is good for both of you, the situation that you're in. And the situation that we were in, it was better for him to come here
but
at that time.
What I'm saying is that if you ever thought that maybe this application might not work, I get that now you're saying that, you would have never moved back home, but you had it in mind that you would make this relationship work by going more
more often.
If it didn't work.
If it didn't work, I'd have to go back home more often.
Okay.
So he'll be seeing me more often than the first time that I would go probably once.
That is dedication.
It would be more often.
Yeah.
So
so now we're here and you need to get your husband over. So I don't really know much about the process other than what I've spoken to some of my friends, and so I think you're given 2 years and then another 2 years and you apply for permanent stay.
So basically you get given 5 years, but they break it down now. First that's not how it was, but now you get given 5 years and then they break it down. So you have 2.5 years, then you have to reapply again for the second 2.5 years before they give you
the permanent leave, what's stay, leave to remain, something like that.
Yeah.
So tell me, because I walked into, was it your house one day, and I remember seeing like a stack of papers.
Yeah.
I thought she was writing a dissertation. Girl.
What is this for?
It's for the process, right? And honestly, like from the beginning of when we met, if you're going to be in a relationship overseas, you have to be strong and you have to be ready for what comes. And I think that's what happened to me. So the process is not easy in terms of like the things that they ask you of. I was very qualified. I had everything that I needed, but it's just even like putting things together, because I have to put things together on my side and he has to put things together on his side.
What are we talking about? Putting things together?
Proving your job, your bank account, and the worst thing, and I think where people can get it wrong, is you have to prove your relationship.
Receipts, honey. They wanted receipts.
So I mean, people work, so you can easily get your bank account and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But you have to prove that your relationship is legit.
How? I mean, I sent him a couple of nudes and stuff.
So
send the nudes.
Listen to this, right? So from the time that we started speaking, even did
we catch that? Because
what did he say? What did he say? The way you're just sipping your
Dennis is petty. He's not cutting shit out. Carry on.
I didn't even catch that. But so.
How do you prove your relationship? Because I think that you're loving,
there's love in the relationship.
Yeah,
and people think it's very simple.
You have to show them like text messages and stuff.
So sis, it's like something told me. Even our Facebook message right now, if I go there, it's there. For whatever reason, I didn't feel to go back and delete it. Right. So every conversation that we had, we kept. Only from, I think the beginning stages, I would delete it and I would delete it. But when we knew that, okay, we want to take it forward, then we also, at that point, and this is probably like in May or whatever, we had to look at from that point, what was required of us. Right. So you have to do it earlier on, because you can't give them a chat of 6 months.
So we're talking about printing off
2 years.
Yes. 2 years of chit-chatting. Hey, babe, morning, babe, night, babe, good night, love you,
Yeah.
That's invasive.
It's more than invasive.
You really have to think ahead. Like once you say that, okay, we're going to be an item, you have to think about the possibilities.
I'm just imagining somebody in the Home Office reading, love you, Jen, love you too, Michael.
I think they just literally
good night, babe.
I think it's just a waste.
It's just a waste, because they can't reach for it.
They want to stress you.
But for you just want to do this one time, because the money is not easy as well.
Ooh.
You have to pay for the actual visa, pay for NHS. The person hasn't even come here yet, and you have to pay for NHS.
We're not talking about 150 visa.
Oh no,
for Ghana trip. No.
So the money was hefty. So if you're going to do it as well, you have to do it wholeheartedly. You can't be taking short corners. So like I said, for whatever reason, I didn't delete our message from Facebook, even from when we started. I had to print all of that.
God damn.
So that they can see that our relationship for about nearly 2.5 years is actually real. We've been talking for a good while.
Jeez.
You can't just be giving them a chat of 2 months. How is that legit?
Did this have implications on your relationship?
Do you know what? Honestly, it didn't.
You two were just kind of spearheading.
If you really want it, you really in love, really want it, right? I was just so positive. I was stressed. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
I was stressed. Sometimes I'll just sit there. My mum would be like, "You need this." I'm like, "Mom, please, not today." Like I was very frustrated, but I was very, very, I really wanted this to happen. So I literally, he kept some of our messages, some of them missing. So he's literally now, imagine, iPhone 64 gig or whatever, right? He's now sending me all the messages.
Oh my God.
I'm having to now screen match mine as well.
Oh my God.
For nearly 2 years. I'm not talking about 1 month.
No, because when I walked into the house,
we're talking
every day,
right?
Do you feel like they make the process hard or harder intentionally because of
what people
do?
Definitely they do, because I mean back in the day, what aunties will take their nephews and nieces as their children, and so I think obviously, and you know, it's not even only like black people. Let's just put that out there as well.
Of course,
like it's
all
general,
worldwide.
So so I think and speaking to my parents about it, you know, it's definitely changed.
Yeah,
it's definitely changed. Even
from what it was back in the day.
Exactly, and even for how long you have to wait, it's even getting longer. The process is getting longer, so it's definitely not an easy process.
Sometimes I feel like this is a way for Home Office to get that money.
Oh, of course.
To make that money.
Oh, look at our lips. Of course, please.
It is.
Listen, because that's not small money that you're spending.
And
you know, people that have had to do it have been rejected are then having to spend that money again. It's very it's a stressful, painful
and that's
process.
it. That's another point as well, and that's why I was like, even if I have to put in 1 month of each conversation we had, like a whole month of conversation, I would, because you have to try and make things so clear to them that they don't refuse you.
Right, that there's no question.
There's no questions.
So 2 weeks before Michael actually came here, right, we were in my room, and I remember this conversation so well. We were sat on the bed, and we were both frantically talking about, like, okay, like, what? No, this thing has to happen. It has to happen. Because I think at that point, Jennifer was saying we've got another 6 weeks to wait or something.
Yeah, so at that point, I think we had just put it in.
They just put in the process.
So you have to wait another 6 weeks. And let me tell you, from a traditional, God has been doing amazing. For the rest of my life, God has been doing amazing. But, you know, when God does significant things, it's just like, wow. So when I was putting it in, they also even say, oh, if you want to fast track.
This is the part I don't get.
If you want to fast track, so if you want to go through the normal process, right?
Yeah.
It's about, I think, 6 to 8 weeks. Not guaranteed. And me too. I just couldn't wait, right? So there's a website that I was going on called the Immigration Board. So there people put their issues, their problems. So that's another thing that I was doing.
Like
I was making sure that, like a forum, exactly. So I was making sure, okay, this person done this. I can't be doing that. Do you know what I'm trying to say? So that really helps me.
You did your research.
I've done my research, because the money I'm putting it in, it has to.
Is that these coins? He has to enter. Yeah.
And at this point, I was not questioning my relationship or anything. We just had to make this work together.
Right.
You know, I easily get frustrated. So I'll get frustrated and he'll be like, oh babe, don't worry, you know, trying to calm the situation.
Yeah.
I'm just like, you don't know. Because the thing is, his side is a little bit more easier.
Right. How so?
Because he just has to prove his work, right?
Okay.
But I'm the one who's now bringing him over, so they need a lot of requirements from me.
So are they looking at you?
Yeah, to show that I'm able to take care of him when he gets here.
Financially.
Right.
So the person, so then I just want to make clear, the person that's here has to basically do the work.
Do the work.
Show that
Correct.
you are financially stable, you're good.
Because if anything goes wrong, it
falls on me.
Right.
And it doesn't only fall on me, they're thinking about it falls on government. That's how people come here.
Right.
And then they don't have nowhere to stay, and then they go to council and all of that. Seeking asylum and those kind of things, right? So that's one thing. You have to show that you're in a house and you've been in there, your tenancy agreement, your bills, everything.
You're not a liability to us.
And one of the main things is you have to be working and getting a certain amount of income as well.
Right.
Okay.
If you're not getting that, there's no way.
So where Michael was just like, yep, here you go, here's my work documents. You was like,
I was and most of the things in terms of relationship was on my phone, so I had to do that as well, and then try and get people from his side. So it was mainly more me.
That love was strong. Because
the love is strong, Sha. It is strong.
That love was
like I said,
strong.
I always tell myself that I won't do this, but if the love is strong and you know, you just do it. It's frustrating, you know. It's like a process. It's a journey, but you will definitely just do it. And it wasn't easy. So prior to that time, right? Like I said, they give you this. I think you have to. It's like 800 or 1,000. If you put that, you get fast track.
800 or 1,000
fast track pounds.
Well, after
if I'm correct, don't.
After you've paid for the visa money.
Oh, visa is different. NHS is different, and there's another one And when you're putting the papers in as well, when you're putting the papers in for them to now everything is all like computerized. So for them to put it, even that they're charging you for that.
So what's the difference? 8, maybe possibly we might be quoting wrong. 800 to $1,000 for fast track, and then the normal 6 to 8 weeks was how much?
That is. I actually honestly.
Is it a significant difference? Like a
so
big difference?
Everything, I'll just sum up. Everything nearly comes to about $3,000 and a bit. Jess, do you want to have that sip?
Like
$3,000. So if you're homeless, you can't do long distance. If you're broke,
this is a rich man's game.
It's a rich man's game.
Yeah,
okay.
And do you know what? It's if you're gonna be like, oh, I've met someone on Tuesday and I'm gonna bring him over on Friday. It's not happening.
Lies.
Obviously, we had been speaking for a bit. We knew where we were going, so we were preparing ourselves.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? You have to put this one, that process. You have to prepare.
What I don't understand though is like for them to say, if you want us to look at it fast, it's this much.
Yeah,
because
and you know what? It's not guaranteed. That 6 to 8 week is not guaranteed. I went on that forum and people have been waiting for 6 months.
So you can pay that $1,000 and still get a no.
Oh yeah, and get a no. But what I have realised, don't quote me on this, but what I've realised on the forum that everyone that was paying that because it's extra money, which is your choice to pay.
Yeah.
They got it. There's no one that
you saw a pattern.
Yeah, I saw a pattern. Everyone that said, "Oh, so now I'm now."
So is this a cash business that they're doing?
So now I'm questioning myself and thinking, maybe me too. Or like maybe I should also pay that extra. And I said, "Wow, my God, it's too good for that."
Right.
Yeah.
So that was the conversation we were having at the house.
Yeah,
is that you were feeling like you was anxious about not having paid more money
because that 6 and 8 weeks. I've seen people wait years, and I'm talking about uncles that I know that are still waiting for days. Mine had just come and I've got it. Do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
So now I'm just thinking, okay, maybe fast track within a week. I'll know. I wouldn't have to worry. I wouldn't have to stress. Because every day I'm on my phone.
You were second guessing yourself.
And I'm like, babe, have you got the email? Babe, he's literally checking on his phone. Like you're so anxious, right? Because you're constantly checking and thinking, okay, when, and there's a possibility as well that they can come back and say, okay, this is not enough. We want more.
Right? They could be asking for more.
They could be asking for more. Prove this better. You know, if you're luck, that's even luck because they're helping you to say. There's some people that look and
they don't get it.
So that one, literally, this process is prayer.
How long did it take before you got
So that's
your
what
decision?
I was going to say. 2 weeks before, we thought that it was going to take a long time.
6 to 8 weeks. So now
we were nowhere near.
I bought my ticket, right? We put it in, I think, like ending of January. I bought my ticket to go back in Easter to go and see him. My ticket's bought all. I've not been waiting for a decision, but I was praying to God, and I'm going to keep on mentioning this, but this is prayer, right? Because I told God that, okay, I'll do my fasting, I'll do my fasting, my prayers. I said, God, I've bought my ticket. So I'm hoping, I had calculated that 6 to 8 weeks will be about that time.
By the time
I go to Easter,
you can come back with him.
Thank you.
Right.
That was the plan.
I remember.
That's my plan. This is human being plan. Right?
Yeah.
With that, I'm praying, and God just shamed me.
I was there.
She said, shamed me.
Michael's coming tomorrow. I was like, again, I was just like, wait, 2 weeks. It's not been 6 weeks. She's like,
God shamed me. So I'm preparing.
Got the decision faster.
I've got it a month exactly.
Much faster.
A month exactly. So if I had given that extra track for that week, 1 week, that's not guaranteed. I would have wasted money. God was my fast track.
Lola's like, huh? No, literally, I was there. She said Michael's coming tomorrow, and I was just like,
I just want to put out there, if God is in it, and if you put God first, trust me.
It will happen.
If I talk about this, people are looking at me like, what? Listen, smooth as this table. It was
smoother than the Taboo table.
It was smooth.
Right.
Yeah.
Despite the anxiety.
Thinking it gets to I think 4 weeks, and okay, I'm preparing to go Ghana. I'm like, okay, we've got 4 weeks. Time's getting closer. Hubby messages me, babe, they've emailed me. He screen munches sending to me. I was like, I had to like.
Look at
I was like, what? He's like, yeah, and that I think how did they do it? They tell you to come and get your passport.
Yeah,
They call you and say that your passport is ready without even telling you if you've got it or not.
Oh wow.
Oh really?
Yeah. So if I never went through this, but if they refuse it, I think they'll send you some sort of refusal email or letter.
Yeah, I've seen that.
But even that, they'll say go and get your passport. They won't say, oh, you've got it, go and get your passport. Right. So now you're also anxious. So within that 4 weeks, guys, literally 4 weeks, it happened smoothly. They didn't request for anything. we just got an email, go and pick it up.
The receipts were undeniable, obviously.
Yeah,
when you're
literally, even I didn't even mention, even like the things that he was sending over, DHL, receipts, everything, we were keeping it.
Everything.
Do you know what I'm trying to say? Because within a year, like if you're really legit in a couple, I mean, maybe someone should have bought something, birthdays.
No, of course, yeah.
Anniversaries.
If he's trying to woo you, he would have been sending you stuff.
So cards, everything, all those little details we added, and within a month, literally a month or the dot. So now I had to cancel my tickets. I didn't even go to Ghana.
Amen.
I had to cancel my ticket.
Can we just screw back a bit?
Yeah.
Screw. I want to ask about like the financial weight on you as the person who's obviously here and earning and having to prove that you've got it to be able to look after a man, to be able to look after your husband. Like, what was that like, having that weight on your shoulder that you were going to have to do this financially? I mean, obviously when he gets here, he's going to be the man of the house. He's going to go out and work. But for the meantime, you're actually going to have to be the breadwinner. You're going to have to be the one that looks after him.
And again, it's something I knew. I'm always someone who is, you know, if you love someone, it's a two-way thing. You know what I'm trying to say? You're one now. So it wasn't that I was I didn't see it as I'm financially doing it. I'm doing it for us.
Right.
That's how I kind of saw it. That didn't really bother me. Okay. Bearing in mind that he does work, right? So he did put money somewhere as well. I didn't take all the weight, right? But yeah, I just saw it as it's just us two. There was no conversation. There was just like, babe, you know, I'll do this, I'll do that. Okay, I'll do that, I'll do this. Smooth. That was it. Just because I know in the long run,
it's going to benefit the both of you.
It's not going to.
It's your foundation. So.
And at that point, I was not thinking, is he coming here for visa? Is he coming for?
You've gone past that.
I had passed that stage. Way past that stage. But yeah, it's beautiful because I feel like. I don't hear much of my story.
That's why I was just about to say, because you're from the other side.
Most stories, you're from the good side.
Most of the stories we hear are quite bad and are quite negative.
You know, there is a huge amount of scam marriages, weddings, and sometimes both parties know about it, and then sometimes, unfortunately, one party is going in with good intentions that they love the person,
on the other side,
and then unfortunately, the person coming over is married, 4 kids. And it's just a plot.
He's hiding another secret life.
Yeah.
Or they had no conversation.
Sometimes I question myself and I was like, did you not see any red flags?
Yeah.
Because I personally didn't see any red flags. And I put it forward that, babe, this is what can happen. So I was seeing the things that he was saying. He never mentioned about, even it got to a point, and this is where I thought, okay, maybe like this is actually it. When I said that we were talking about if I was going to come here, because we did have that conversation if I was going to go to Ghana or he was going to come here. And like Jessica knows, like in the long run, I would want to go to Ghana and have some business and stuff. So, you know, if I could do it like in the next 3 years, I would. But now I'm married, so I had to put him into, you know, consideration. And then we spoke about it, and he didn't hesitate. He's like, okay, babe, I mean, it's quite difficult here. And like comparing like the pay wage in Ghana compared to here is totally different. Right? So, and I wasn't prepared, number one. I was not really prepared. Because when now I go back home, you have to find something to do. It's a whole lot of process. It's not easy. And I know that people that wake up and say, well, I'm going back home, it takes years.
Yeah.
And I couldn't just do it just like that. Yeah. So the best situation was for him to obviously come over.
And I feel like a lot of people that have the negative side of things, they don't really think about, they only think, okay, well, we're bringing him here, we're bringing her here. Right. They don't really think of, okay, if this visa falls apart and it doesn't actually work out, the other option is, I don't think they think that far.
Yeah, no, you didn't. But I guess faith. I said, no, it has to work.
It has to work, yeah.
Even if you refuse, I'll put it in again and I'll work. But what you do need to decide is what you're going to do at that point if there was to happen. Right. And obviously, if you have the means to move back, but then even moving back and now moving back here, it's just, you know, it's a whole lot of things to think about. It's not easy.
So I think it's very easy to, you know, think about, you know, the negative stigma around this. But I spoke to my other friend who she only dates guys from back home. She does the long distance thing because she says in her mind she never plans to live her life here. She plans to live her life back home. To her, I know a lot of people might look at you sideways when you're dating someone from back home that you know doesn't travel, but for her, she doesn't see it as anything at all because she's like, well, my life is never going to be here. So my guy can be home because that's where I'm going to return eventually. She also mentioned the fact that, you know, not everybody back home is dying to come and live here. So get that out of your head. She says that she made a very good point, and she said, you know what, people think that this is the golden haven to come in.
They feel like money's on trees.
But actually there's people back home that are living lavish. We're the ones in the council estates suffering. Do you get it? And so I think that negative stigma comes from a place of ignorance, you know,
and just experience.
You've got no idea what's
that's what I said. There's a difference between being back home and being stuck back home. You can have a life and you can travel and stuff. You might not just, might not need a citizenship.
So what I'll ask then is if you could basically give some advice to somebody who, you know, they found love in the motherland, and you know they're thinking of the options to move forward with this person, what would it be like?
I just obviously make sure that your relationship is real and it's grounded, you have a foundation, because if you don't have, then that's when it starts to get a bit shaky. But just know that if it's real, then there's nothing that should stop you. And I'll just say that start to find out, if you decide actually where your next step, are you moving to wherever they are, or are they coming there? Because then it now depends on what next step you take. So, for instance, if Michael was coming over here, so now we had to now look into the things it would take for him to come here. If you're now going over there, and it's easier for you to go over there, then that's fine. But now when you get there, what are you going to do for your family? So take it from that step, and then I think that's the most important bit, just kind of getting together and then say, okay, we're staying here or we're staying from there, and then in life we'll take it from there. But just pay attention, especially if you met someone newly, let's say. Just, ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Be grounded.
It's within your right.
Yeah, it's definitely within your right to, ask all the questions that you've ever wanted answered. Speak to family. I mean, if the mom is acting a bit dodgy, then sis,
keep it moving.
Just
and I feel like your true self will come out. You can't literally be
on the phone. That's what I'm saying, because Michael was on the phone for a year. He would have slipped up somewhere if his intentions were not.
Exactly. And I tell you, he didn't mention anything about coming here. Nothing. There was no red flags for me to say that, okay. No, and like I said, the point when I said that I'm going to, okay, what about if I was to come Ghana? He was given all the options. Oh, babe, we can.
He was ready to make it work.
He was ready to make it work. He didn't say, oh, babe, but our plan was for me to come over there. There's something like that. The main thing is to come over there. Why are you asking me about coming over there? That's how I saw their plan. Babe, I have been thinking about wanting to come Ghana, hence why I was going so much, right? So why about if I was to move? I said, yeah, babe, if you're gonna come, just come, we can do this, we can do that, you're good at doing this. And obviously he's got quite good links as well, so he's like, we could talk to this person, the options were there. We had both in our hands, and we said, okay, what would benefit us for now? Right.
And that's the decision
that we made, because now he's here, I've got a stable job, God willing knows, so when he came, he's got a stable job now as well, just like that. So now we can just work our lives together, start like any other businesses and that. If we decide to go back, then we go back.
Live your life. Live your life.
Yeah, that's it. Just pay attention to every detail that you can. Don't be too stush. I think the main things are red flags. And when you're in love, sometimes the red flags are like boom, boom, boom. You don't see it. But if you're in this type of relationship, you have to be very open-minded about those kind of things. And I think once you've passed the red flags and the detailing and you're good with it, your next step, get married, move on.
Happily ever after.
That's it. It's really, I think we make it sound so hard, so it's impossible, it can't work, there is a lot of stigma around it. But once you pass that stigma, because your love is strong, you know where you're heading to, and there's no red flags, there's nothing. What's the next thing?
Just chop life after that.
Chop life.
Chop life with your husband.
Chop life crew.
Chop life.
Honestly. Thank you so much for coming down. This has been a very interesting conversation.
Thank you for
I know there's going to be a couple of people that are going to be clicking because they want to be known. There's a huge move to dating, men from back home, and it's a lot to do with how they respect women and how they.
I like men.
I know you. Girl, I know you like your man from back home.
Like people would ask. But all the boys in this country, you didn't see nobody. These aunties. But it's not about that. It's not about that.
They have a different mannerism.
Different.
They treat you like a real lady.
The way they call you, like, hubby, like, oh, babe, everything's babe and dear. I'm like, keep on telling me. Come on. You know? But the boys and you know what? And that went on for 1 year.
Because we're tired of the oi down the roads. In Southeast London. I'm tired. You know, sometimes back home and be treated like a queen, honestly.
Like, I can't.
And I think one thing I did forget to mention is Michael loves his mum. That's one thing I looked at as well.
I mean, Ghana boys love their mums.
They love their mums, okay? And I feel like if
all Ghana boys.
Mummy boys. What is with it? What is it?
But this one is good mummy boy because he respects his mum, and I can see how he treats his mum, and then how he treats women, and how he treats women in general, and it's just beautiful.
Oh, cheers to Michael.
Okay, Michael.
Click. Don't leave me hanging. Click. Thanks for watching, guys. See you soon. Bye. Hi, guys. So as you very well know, every time we have a guest on here, we ask them to give us a few words to live by. So I've got Jennifer's words to live by here, and I'm just going to read them. Oh, we've got a scripture here. Okay. Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, says the Lord. Thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and a hope. Those are such beautiful words, Jennifer, and thank you so much for coming on. Don't forget, guys, to like, subscribe, and comment, and share with a friend of a friend of a friend. See ya. Bye.